Ready or not on the Steam Deck OLED. So before launching the game, go into the controllers and whatever layout you have, go to search, and in search type Santiago, and you have, if you press X, it will show you all the layouts or only the ones on your device. The one that I recommend is this one. It should show up when you put my name there in search, which I took another person's prompts and I did some adjustments so it worked for me. So it has trackpad, it has everything that you probably need to play this game, very basic. So once you apply the template, you should be ready to go. You can add gyro if you want to, or add more stuff like the sensitivity of the right joystick. And once you hit play, it'll ask you to use DX11 or 12. I recommend DX11 because the game otherwise in the loading screen sometime it crashed the entire Steam Deck. It was just frozen and then black screen, nothing happened, hard to hard reset it, so holding the power button. The custom layout, I added a couple of things that are super important to be able to actually play the game. So first of all, when you're choosing a mission, you have your trackpad. So we're going to choose a mission. Once it loads, you select continue. And nothing will happen. Well, you need to ready up, which is a Y key on the keyboard, so it's now mapped to the trackpad. So choose ready up and you'll be into the game. So that's one of the basic functionality I recommend. Alright, so in the options menu, the first thing you're going to notice is that there's no resolution option, but it defaults to 800p apparently. Happened on the, I think only on the OLED. In the advanced graphics, low textures for performance reasons. If you want to put them on medium, be my guest. It's going to drop further in certain locations. Then I disable per object shadows to increase performance. Balanced FSR2, you can do quality as well, but we'll talk about that in a moment. You're probably asking yourself, why the high shadows? That's the first thing we lower. Well, if you can see high shadows, I mean, they look okay, whatever. And we got mid 40s, low 40s with this one. Well, if you put shadows on medium, look at what happens. Let's apply the setting. In a level like this, the shadows are a pixelated mess. If you don't care about this, put shadows on medium and you'll be good to go. But in certain levels, the shadows don't look good at all. It's very distracting in my opinion. So I'll put shadows on high. Welcome to Ready or Not. My target here, this is why I'm using balanced FSR2, is to try and get at least 40s. We gotta sacrifice some performance by using high shadows instead of medium. Again, you don't need to use high shadows if you don't want to. I just find it very distracting, and with the controller prompts that I uploaded, you can command your team. Oh, check that door. And the issue is when you turn on flashlights, they cast shadows on characters, and your teammates also turn on the flashlight. So if you do medium shadows, you should be able to hit 45. But again, okay, open and clear. And of course, they all died because there was a bomb in that door. That's okay. We're going to test another level anyway. So again, DX12 crashes, DX11 still has some stutters, but with the precompiled shaders from Valve, it appears to be better than before, which is great to see. I wish the devs made a native solution to it. I do have a shield. I tend to forget that. There we go, suspect down.
Hands on your head.
Okay. We seem to be fine.
Suspect is bleeding out. Needs medical
Suspect down. But as you can see, indoors, in here, it's fine. The thing is, when there is your other 3 teammates with flashlights on, well, the frame rate is going to have a bad time. So let's jump into a more demanding level now. Alright, so in my opinion, one of the most taxing missions when it comes to performance, Twisted Nerve. As you can see, I have my teammates over here. We seem to be all good and dandy. RAM usage 10 gigabytes, VRAM usage 6.7, that's why we're using low textures. And let's turn a flashlight and see what happens, because our teammates will do the same. Okay, as you can see, there is drops into the 40s when looking at certain places. This is why I recommend a 45 FPS cap. Because again, the flashlight casts shadows from certain objects, usually your teammates and some geometry. But as you can see, with all the flashlights on, plus all that, and stuff loaded in the background, we drop pretty hard in this level.
Stack up. In position.
So if I turn off the flashlights, look what happens.
Fucking locked.
It's so much better. Flashlights on, they all turn it on, drops into the 40s. But realistically speaking, in this level, you're going to need a flashlight. Let's be honest here. Somebody's shooting. So how do we fix this? Well, there is no actual fix in this particular place and situation. So once you get into the house, it's fine. It's just a stress point. But my advice here is to lock it to 45 FPS. So in the per game profile, instead of 90 Hz, 90 FPS, we're going to put it at 45. It's a good in-between. You can also lower shadows to medium if you don't mind the artifacts. And it's basically 90 Hz on the screen. But 45 feels pretty smooth in comparison. Again, not 100% perfect. In this case, in a night level like this, I'll just put shadows on medium. Now with shadows on medium, we got a very slight improvement in this level, because again, remember that the flashlights cast shadows in certain places.
Unlock it. I'll unlock it.
But again, remember that you're going to be using the flashlight a lot. It's a core part of the game.
Unlocked.
And your teammates like using it as well. Open the door. But this is a very specific stress point. But as soon as you would say shit hits the fan, you can drop pretty low. But that's a big issue, and a little. Remember that, again, this is one of those levels where I had this issue. You can also lock it to 40 if you want to, but on the places that it's daytime, for the love of God, keep shadows on high. I'll lock it to 45. And you'll be good to go. But when you're getting shot like that, the CPU usage spikes, as you can see at the left. So the GPU clock drops, and we get those horrible below 40 FPS drops. So as an alternative, you can also lock it to 40. Like on the normal Steam Deck. Should be more stable in the long run.
Hands up, do it now.
But again, the flashlights is what kills stuff the most, at least for me. But what is my problem with Ready or Not? Well, it doesn't have native controller support. We have, and by native I mean you cannot get into the game with a gamepad and move around the menu. You have to emulate a mouse and do everything by hand. That's why I left you with the Steam input configuration, because it's an absolute pain in the ass. The game is clearly meant to be used with mouse and keyboard, which is fine, but I think with the accessibility to this game will be a lot better if you just add native controller support.
Door and move in. Roger.
So yeah, in my opinion, they should add that and a shader compilation step before the game starts. Otherwise, I mean, I think the game is okay. Wouldn't recommend it on Steam Deck. I mean, if you're playing with a mouse and keyboard, sure, it works. But it still doesn't run 100% perfect, which is to be expected. It's a pretty demanding game to begin with. But just the lack of controller support and that you have to hack it together so there's no prompts, the UI is super small. Right now, I wouldn't recommend it. Alright, so now we're in another level. This one is way less demanding. It's just a gas station.
Watch your fire around the pumps.
Looks pretty good. But let's get into it. Let's tell them to stack up.
On it.
And on this one, as you can see, we're hitting pretty high frame rates, but it's going to drop as soon as we engage with the enemy.
Let go.
And as you can see, the RAM is at 10 gigabytes, the VRAM is at 7, so we're using virtual memory quite a bit.
Hands on your head.
Ooh, they're behind me. Oh my god. Let's stop bleeding for a bit. So as I was saying, this level is way less demanding, but my advice for most levels, except in Twisted Nerve, is to keep it at 50 or 45. 40s, it's also a good option. It'll feel less smooth than 45, of course, but it's half 90 Hz, so it feels good enough.
Police down on the ground. You're gonna be okay.
So how much battery are we talking about? Well, with a 45 FPS lock in this level is over 3 hours of battery.
Civilians standing by for
In the other levels, it's probably going to be closer to 2.5 to 3 hours. So yeah, this level is not demanding. That's why I'm telling you like 3.5 hours.
I'm good to go.
Maybe 4. But in Twisted Nerve and stuff like that, you're probably going to get, yeah, maybe
On my six.
2.5 to 3 hours with settings like this and a 45 FPS lock.
Open and clear. Getting into position.
But in the most demanding level, you probably want to get 40s instead of 45. That's the target. Come on, open the door. As you can see, as soon as the AI engages, our frame time spike, the CPU usage goes super high for a split second, and that makes us drop performance basically. So yeah, the Twisted Nerve level is one of those super demanding ones. This one is completely fine.
Element of talk. Civilians standing by for trailers.
And again, the flashlight makes a huge difference,
Stay here.
especially in the demanding levels. And by a difference, I mean it destroys your performance because your teammates also will use it. There you got the examples. Demanding level, not so demanding level, and well, custom controls. So my advice for the developers, if they want this to be closer to being deck verified, make sure to have an option to scale the UI up so it's bigger. Controller support somehow. If they actually make sure that we can do everything on a controller, that will be awesome. A shader compilation pass before playing the game, that will be super cool, so we avoid stutters. But overall, the game works well enough. But the missing gamepad support natively, I think is what kills it for me on the Steam Deck. Yeah, I'm not sure if that guy is dead or alive. Oh, he's dead. Okay, he's down. So yeah, it works. I will lock it to 40 in the banding places, 45 in levels like this, and you should be good to go.
Got it back.
At least 3 hours of battery, 2.5 in the demanding levels. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you found the custom layout useful to play this game on the go if you're interested. And I'll see you next time. Bye guys. Thanks for watching.